Hello students, welcome again to the class Taxation Laws of Bangladesh Law 434. This is video number 3 for class 2, income from business or profession. We were going to, in the last video number 2, we were discussing income classifiable and computable under the head business or profession. By now we know what is income from business or profession and some more items to understand what is income from business or profession under section 19 of the income tax ordinance. As I told you, please remember section 19 deals with the deemed concept of deemed income. Section 19 is a deeming section. So we have to go to section 19, 15, 16, 18, 20 and 23. Now, first of all, section 1915 says the amount, the value of the benefit and the trading liability referred to in section 1915. So please go through section 1915, but to make you understand, briefly I am telling you with example that while doing business, you owe some money to your friend or to any business organization. For example, you bought raw materials for 500,000 taka on loan, but you didn't pay, you would pay later for that. So he is the creditor, you are the debtor. So you owe money to the creditor. So what happened is that the creditor said, well, you don't have to pay the money. I forget this one. I forget 500,000 taka that you owe me. So in this case, the creditor forgives the money, but the losses, income tax losses, well, this amount which has been ignored by the forgiven by the other party, by the creditor, it is deemed as income from business or profession under section 19 subsection 15. So as you know how the deeming section 19 works. So in this case, you have a trading liability to your creditor, to the businessman, but he says that you don't have to pay. So that amount of money, although you are not giving him that money, income tax law says this is your income from business or profession. Next, we come to section 19 subsection 16. It says that whenever you use any property for business, for example, building, plant, machinery, and you sell those building, plant or machinery, and you derive some income, as I mentioned, in agricultural income. So for your business purpose, you use some building, plant, machinery, etc., and you sell those after a certain time, a certain period of time, then you get some income. You get a sale proceeds. So after following a formula that that sale proceeds means the proceeds you derive or receive by disposing of the assets, plants, buildings, machineries used for the business, that is considered as income from business or profession. This is section 19 subsection 16. Next section is section 19 subsection 18. 18 says that when insurance, salvage or compensation money, so you insured your business. So for example, you have a ship insured. You use that ship for business, and that ship has been insured with the insurance company. So that ship is lost and you get back the insurance money from the insurance company. So that money is also considered as your income from business or profession. Next is section 19, 20. We'll not discuss section 19 subsection, or we have discussed section 19 subsection 18. Now we'll discuss section 19 subsection 20, another deeming section. Section 19 subsection 20 says where an asset representing expenditure of a capital nature on scientific research within the meaning of section 29(1)(20) is disposed of during income year, so much of the sale process that doesn't exceed the amount of the expenditure allowed under the said clause shall be deemed to be the income of the assessee for that income year. So, for example, for research purpose, section 1920 says that for research purpose, you have purchased a machinery. So that expenditure is set off against your business income, as you will see in section 29. So whenever you dispose of that asset and you get a sale proceeds, that sale proceeds is considered as your income from business or profession. The last one is section 19 subsection 23. It says section 19 subsection 23 says where during an income year an assessee being an exporter of garments transfer to any person the export quota or any part thereof allotted to him by the government, such portion of the export value of the garments exportable against the quota so transferred as may be prescribed for this purpose shall be deemed to be income from business profession. Now section 19 subsection 23 doesn't have any practical implications, so this is redundant and I'll not put emphasis on that because that deals with the quota system and garments quota. So there for many years there is no garments quota, so this is redundant and I'll not discuss that with you. Just to mention, by the way. Now that is income from business or profession under section 28 of the income tax ordinance. Now, as I said you earlier, section 29 discusses deductions allowable from income from business or profession. So you do business, you have to incur a lot of expenditures. So those expenditures are adjustable, set deductible expenditures from your income from business or profession. It means that the items mentioned in section 29 will be deducted. They are the expenditures, so those expenditures will be charged against the income, they will be deducted against the income, and then by doing that you will get the net business income. Now section 29 is a very big section. It contains a lot of items, so you are not supposed to memorize all the items. For example, I am just mentioning some items. For example, rent paid for hired business premises, expenditure on account of repair of business premises, amount of interest or profit paid to bank, and any sum paid to any person to Islamic bank, and an amount equal to 5% carried to special reserve approved by the government, repair expenditure to buildings, machinery, plant or furniture, insurance premium, depreciation allowances, amortization allowances, special depreciation allowances for inland passenger vessels or fishing trawlers, etc., etc., and etc. So these are the expenditures you will find under section 29. It's a long list, around 29-30 items, so you are not supposed to memorize all those items. These items are deductible, and the last subsection says, section 29 subsection says, that is section 29 subsection 27, clause 27, section 29 1 clause 27 says that any expenditure not being in the nature of capital expenditure or personal expenditure of the assessee laid out or expended wholly and exclusively for the purpose of the business or profession of the assessee. It means that section 29 says these are the items, blah blah blah, all will be deducted from your income from business or profession. There is an omnibus clause, that is section 29 subsection 127. This is the omnibus clause. Omnibus clause means which includes other things not specifically mentioned earlier. So it says that if you spend some money and which you cannot categorize under those category, but you can prove that yes, this expenditure is wholly and exclusively spent for the purpose of earning the business income, then in that case, even though that is not listed in other items of section 29, this will be granted as your expenditure and will be deducted from your income from business or profession. That's the omnibus clause. If I read again the section 29 subsection 1 clause 27, it says that any expenditure not being in the nature of capital expenditure or personal expenses of the SSC laid out or expanded wholly and exclusively for the purpose of the business or profession of the SSC. So if the expenditure is not categorized, not specifically mentioned, but the expenditure is exclusively for the business purpose to earn the business income, then this expenditure will be deducted from your income from business or profession. So what are the what can be an example of such an expenditure? For example, well, find out some suitable examples that are not mentioned in section 29, but the expenditure is wholly and exclusively used for business purposes. What can be the example? For example, if I say that, well, you are doing business and you are spending a lot of money for salary, for staff salary, for vehicles, maintenance, raw materials and other things. But you have to, all of a sudden, you have to spend a lot of money for the benefit of your, say for example, for your employee. And that benefit is necessary to keep the employee in your business premise, so that the employee stays with you and does work for you. So that even if it is not, it might not be, if it is mentioned in the list, then it is okay. But even if it is not mentioned in the list and you can prove that you have given that money to your employee and this is spent wholly and exclusively for the purpose of the business, then this item will be deducted from your income from business or profession. Now, please go to section 29, which I told you that you are not supposed to memorize the whole section. What is important is that the law says that certain expenditures are not allowed under any circumstances. Even if section 29 says, yes, this expenditure can be allowed, but section 30 says this expenditure is not allowable or cannot be deducted because of some disqualification. So if we know which expenditures are not deductible under section 30, I reiterate, I tell you again, if we know which expenditures are not allowed or deducted from income from business or profession under any circumstances, if we know those items, 7 except those items, all other expenditure items are deductible from income from business or profession. So we have to know what are the deductions not admissible in certain circumstances. That is described in section 30 of the Income Tax Ordinance. Section 30 headline caption says, deduction not admissible in certain circumstances. Please go to section 30. This is very important sometimes for your exam purpose as well. So go to section 30 well. Section 30 says, notwithstanding anything contained in section 29. It means that section 29 says, yes, this expenditure is allowable. But notwithstanding that, despite that, if this expenditure doesn't qualify or fails to meet the requirement of qualification under section 30, then even if it is allowable under section 29, this will not be allowable under section 3.0, and it will not be deducted from your income from business or profession. So it says, notwithstanding anything contained in section 29, no deduction on account of allowance from income from business or profession shall be admissible in respect of the following items, namely, in respect of the following items. What are the following items? I tell you another thing is that you will find the items in the PowerPoint presentations which I have already uploaded. If I have not, I'll be uploading. So the PowerPoint presentations, you will get that. You can go through the PowerPoint presentations and get those items. Go through those items. So section 30 says deduction not admissible in certain circumstances. So if you remember in section 29, so section 29 deals with, again I say, section 29 deals with the expenditure allowable under from income from business or profession. But vis-a-vis section 30 says that no, expenditure is not allowable under certain circumstances, because the expenditure, even if it is allowed under section 29, it doesn't qualify under section 30. So the expenditure spent by the businessman must be subject to the qualifications as mentioned in section 30 of the income tax ordinance. For example, what are the qualifications? Section 30 says not deductions not admissible in certain circumstances. It says payment of salary if tax not deducted at source as per law. Number one. Number two, payment to any person if tax and VAT not deducted as per law. Payment of interest, salary, commission or remuneration made by a firm or an AOP to any partner. Payment of brokerage or commission made to non-resident if tax is not deducted at source. Payment to the provident fund and other fund if provision is not made to deduct tax therein. Amount of perquisite exceeding taka 450,000, exception applies if exception applies for gazetted perquisite. Expenditure for entertainment, employees foreign tour, publicity and advertisement and distribution of free samples exceeding the prescribed limit. Payment exceeding 10% of the profit as head office expenses. Payment of royalty, technical service fee, technical know-how fee or technical assistance fee exceeding 8% of the net profit. Payment of salary and remuneration not paid by cost check exceeding gross salary of 15,000 or more. Payment of incentive bonus exceeding 10% of the net profit. So it continues. Section 30, expenses regarding overseas traveling exceeding 1% of the disclosed turnover, commission paid or discount made to its shareholder, director by the company. Any payment exceeding 50,000 or more otherwise than by cost check or bank transfer, exception applies. Payment by way of any rent of any property otherwise than by a cost check or bank transfer. So these are the items that, these are the expenditures that even if you spend those money, but if these expenditures do not qualify the qualifications under section 30, then these expenditures will not be deducted from your income from business or profession. So please, dear students, please go through section 30 well and memorize, if it is possible, memorize the items as mentioned in section 30. If you do not understand any of the items of section 30, please go to the Facebook and Facebook group and post the question over there. I'll try to make the point clear by giving you the appropriate examples. So again, income from business or profession, I summarize, this is very important for your final exam purpose. Section 28 defines what is income from business or profession. Section 28 along with section 19 defines income from business or profession. Section 29 deals with the expenditures that should be deductible from income from business or profession, and section 2030 discusses that deductions not admissible in certain circumstances. It means that even if some items, some expenditures qualify under section 29, it is not allowed under section 30 because it doesn't qualify the requirements as mentioned in section 30. So please go through section 30 and memorize section 30, the items therein, and if there is any ambiguity in understanding any item of the any item of section 30, please put me questions, drop some lines on the Facebook, and I will answer those with examples. Having said so, here I finish the third video, and probably the last third and last video of lecture 2 of law 434, taxation laws of Bangladesh. See you next time with class 3 and other and videos with relating to class 3s. Happy reading. Until then, goodbye, take care, be joined with me with the Facebook. Thank you very much. Have a good day.